Hello, and welcome to another Pulse Analysis. I'm your host Chris as we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning and the rest of the NHL. And last night, well, didn't go great, I guess. Ultimately, the result was Tampa Bay Lightning 1, Boston Bruins 2 in Tampa. We lost to Boston. Everyone loses to Boston. I think this is the thing that people need to take in context. Yes, it's annoying that we've lost 5 out of 6. However, this is, at the moment, the best team in the NHL. They are disgustingly strong throughout. Tuukka Rask, that alone would be, a brilliant player to have. You could build a team around Tuukka. But then the backup is Jaroslav Halak, who I think also would be an excellent starting goalie, and a lot of teams, if they heard he was free, would be like, yes, please, yep, definitely better than our starter. We'll have him, absolutely. Part of the reason why Tuukka Rask is so good is because Halak is able to take off a lot of the slack, and Rask gets the rest that he needs to be better in the games that he does play. Like, the load is very nicely, evenly shared. You know that Tuukka Rask is the better of the two, but Halak is perfectly capable as a backup. And, if something happened to Rask, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You'd have Halak. If something happened to Rask and Halak, then yes, that would be time to panic for Bruins fans. That top line needs no introduction. Bergeron, Marchand, Pasternak. Of course, it had to be Marchand, the one who scored. But it's what he does. He's good. Even when he's not feeling 100%, he can still start. He can still score on the tip-in with less than a minute to go in the first period. That's what he does. That's what he does. He revels in annoying other teams. He knows that he annoys other teams, and he enjoys it. And fair play, it works for him. He has a style of play that very much works. He riles the opposition. They make mistakes. He capitalizes. It's not just them. DeBrusk has been around, for a very old while. They've got Charlie Coyle, Jim Krug, Krejci, even their fourth line is still more than capable of keeping teams a very torrid time. And I think we got off lucky. They outshot us by quite some distance. They dominated us for 2 solid periods. Yes, I guess we had more of the play in the third. Maybe we could have tied it at 2-2, maybe, but I don't know if that would have been a fair result. I think it would have very much been a case of us stealing a point off them. And we've already been lucky enough to beat the Bruins twice this year. We beat them in a shootout in Boston. We beat them earlier at Tampa in December. That's pretty good. There'll be a lot of teams that go up against the Bruins and will not be as lucky as us. I give you in point of case the last team that played the Bruins before we did, New York Islanders. It was in New York, lost 4-0. That hurts. That hurts so much more than a close, even-ish contest where we do stay in the game. It's a narrow loss. Hey, if it comes to the playoffs and we do get to the second round, which alone I feel like would be a success, considering what happened last year, and we face Boston, we go out, and even if it's like the most agonising way possible, like we go out in a game 7, I know, that we've gone out to a very good side that probably should be winning the Stanley Cup this year. I think that's the one thing that probably is sort of like eating away at quite a lot of like Bruins fans' minds. Is like, well, we got close last year, really close, like Game 7 Stanley Cup final close. If we don't win it this year, when do we win it? When? How do you make that team stronger? I don't know that you can. Is Pasternak going to have a better season than this? Maybe, but it's a lot to ask, isn't it? It's a lot to ask of that top line. It's a lot to ask of the goalies that if this season doesn't end well, that they manage to rebound again. Because they're rebounding again. A lot of teams after losing a Stanley Cup final doesn't go, they don't have half as good a regular season as this sometimes. Boston have rebounded very well, and I expect them to be, strong throughout the year. In terms of where does that leave us, obviously, because we lost to Boston, we're further back from Boston. That's a 9-point gap now. That may only widen. I don't think we'll catch them. I think they're going to finish first, and if any team can probably sort of get rid of the curse that is winning the President's Trophy, might well be Boston. Although, bearing in mind, last time Boston did win the President's Trophy and got to the playoffs that same season, yes, they got past round 1, beat the Detroit Red Wings, but then they lost in the Game 7 to the Montreal Canadiens, and then I was a Bruins fan. Oh, that's not a good way to go out. Don't do that again. Whatever you do. Of all the teams to lose to, Boston do not like losing to Montreal. Fortunately, in terms of the chasing back, Toronto had a chance to close the gap to 7 and blew it rather badly. Lost 5-2 to the San Jose Sharks, who were seeing a little bit of a mini revival. I don't think the Sharks... I really don't think the Sharks are making the playoffs. But hey, they're showing promising signs that sort of this season might be a blip, and next season they'll get back in the saddle, they get back in the playoff races. Because if they can put 5 past Pittsburgh and 5 past Toronto, hey, that's positive. That's a good set of results for any team in this league. So Toronto kind of slid on a banana skin there. Florida haven't played since losing 3-0 to Calgary. They are still 14 points back from us, and for me that is too wide a gap to be closing at this stage of the season. Montreal won pretty impressively. Another bad result for the New York Islanders, 6-2 in favour of Montreal. Montreal have broken the 70-point barrier, 7 points back from Toronto, and you're thinking, well, probably not. Probably not. They're just not consistent enough, Montreal. They sort of flatter to deceive. You think, oh, maybe, Carey Price and all that, and then it's like, yeah, but, they're just as likely to go on a run of 7 defeats, or, even worse than that, than they are to go on a run of 7 wins. There is no sort of halfway house for Montreal. They don't sort of win one, lose one. They're either really hot or they're ice cold. And that's kind of been the way it's been for them this season. I think we can safely rule Buffalo out. Road trip from hell. Just when it looked like it might be, well, if you get 2 wins out of it, no. They lost every game without a single point to show for it. Lost to Colorado, lost to Vegas, lost to Arizona, and last night lost to Winnipeg. Back you go to Buffalo. Where do you go from here, Sabres fans? This ain't good. This ain't good at all. 6th in the Atlantic last year, 6th in the Atlantic this year. That's what it's looking like. Poor Buffalo fans. We are next at home, last game before we go on the road, and we are playing Montreal. So that's quite fitting. We can sort of look at Montreal in a bit more sort of detail and sort of see if they are genuinely trying to make a late run for the playoffs, or if they're doing their classic, well, we might be good, but actually... We haven't made a playoff series since 2017, and we're probably not going to this year. I think that's where Montreal probably ending up. That is it from me. Thank you very much for watching. This has been another Bolts analysis. And remember, even an under-the-weather Brad Marchand will still get under your skin.